Okay, well, I don't know how long that was mixing because I forgot to put the timer on. I'm gonna guess it was 2 minutes. And since it's rye, I probably want a little longer anyway. This rye bread is really heavy, the rye flour. So, I'm just getting this off the kneader. What do we call this thing? This attachment. And now if you're doing this by hand, it takes about 8 minutes. I think you would need it for about 8 minutes. And there are some techniques, though, that are a little different than regular bread, if you've made regular bread. But I really won't even do it justice to try to show you here because I've been doing this mixer for years. So I'll give you the Irish guy's. This guy's amazing. He's got a beginner tutorial on sourdough. He just makes a white sourdough, but you can just put in whole grain if you like. Okay, so the next step is to have a proving container. I like to use something that's square because then you can get a really good idea of how it rises. If it's round and edge, like gradual on the sides, like something like this. Like I used to prove in this because I thought, well, I can count the lines. But this is smaller at the bottom than it is at the top, so you don't have a real good picture of whether it's doubled or not. So I would go with a square thing, but you can use anything. You can use any bowl, anything. And then if you don't have a lid for it, you can cover it with saran wrap. Then I also put this little hairband on here because that is how far the dough is going to reach. And that'll tell me when it reaches the top, then I know that it's done. So, sorry Elizabeth, but you're going to have to use a little bit of oil. Just a little bit of oil. That is maybe not even a teaspoon of oil. And if you don't do that, the bread dough will just stick. And then I've got all these cool sourdough tools, but you don't have to have these. You can just like oil up your hands and use that. So I'm gonna brush this oil around on the bottom to distribute it. Love these things. And now I'm gonna scoop this out. You can see it's really, you probably can't see because it's inside of here, but it's really sticky. Rye is hard to work with in my experience. Okay, come on, you. Out you go. Oh, it's so heavy. There we go. Alright, so we have this really dense dough in there. Now, if you're just doing this with white flour, it's so much easier. And in fact, I recommend starting with white flour till you get the hang of it. That's how I did it. Okay. Oh. Need more oil on my hands. So I'm just squishing it down so that it's, even on all sides and that I can judge its progress well. Now, for proving, let me find a lid. Okay. For proving, I don't even close this, I just put it on. And you see it's right at the halfway mark. So it's going to need to go all the way up here. That takes me generally 4 hours in I have this multi-function oven that does a fermentation. So I put it at 85 degrees, I think that's around 30 degrees Celsius. You don't need that. You can just find a warm place in your house, but make sure that it's not warmer than 30 degrees. Because if it's warmer than 30 degrees, it'll rise too fast and it'll pretty much, it'll just be gross. It won't rise well in the oven. It'll be flat and hard. So make sure it's under 30 degrees. You can even raise it in the refrigerator, which is the easiest way to do it. Just pack it up like this, put it in the fridge, and leave it for up to 24 hours or more. You can leave it for a long time. Some people leave it in for a week. And then, but I generally will do it for like 24 hours. And then the next day you can shape the loaves. Today I'm going to ferment it in the fermenter. So I think with the weather the way it is these days, I don't know whether you guys use air conditioning. I know Elizabeth doesn't. So Elizabeth, you can probably just prove this on your countertop, but make sure it's not too hot in your apartment. No more than 30. But otherwise, what was I going to say? Oh, if your air conditioner's high, just find a warm spot in your place. You might even just stick it in the oven with the light on or something like that. And then it should take, it could be 4, it could be 6 hours. It just depends on the conditions in your apartment. You want it to double. When it rises and doubles, then it's going to be ready to shape into loaves. So that'll be our next step, and I think we'll be doing that in about probably 4 hours.